There was a sister, and she was exactly as depicted. All the boys cautioned me not to ask her stories about growing up. She really did live a life that was totally separate from them. They had no idea what to do with a daughter. So they treated her with kid gloves, and she was the little princess, in this living in squalor. And with boys, they knew what to do. You beat boys and you work boys, and that's what you do with boys. With little girls, they had no idea. They didn't have a clue. So they treated her with kid gloves, and as a result, the boys developed survival skills very early on. They became very independent, and they could take care of themselves at a very, very early age. Again, at an age that we'd all been dead. We would have, we are not equipped in this day and age to deal with what they dealt with on a daily basis. That daughter is very much like us today as far as not having the survival skills. And she learned at her mama's knee, what kind of relationships to have with men. And, throughout her life, it was just a series of bad relationships with men, bad marriages. The brothers would say she could not make a good decision, about men. If there was a clear path, a man who's going to take good care of her and treat her well, a man who's going to treat her like dirt, rob her, cheat on her, all that, always went for that man. She never went for the one who was going to treat her well. She was emulating Papa. And so, yeah, unfortunately, she was absolutely true to life and cursed, to a life of just misery. Both sides of their families were really messed up. On Mama's side, her mama was the kind of the force trying to keep everything together. So she lived at the old home place, and everybody went there on Sundays, for a meal. But Mama and Mama's sisters were constantly creating problems for themselves and for each other. It was absolutely true that Mama, when she ran through the little money that the family had, gave away all of her children to other sisters, to her sisters. And thank God her sisters took them in, because what would have happened to them if nobody took them in? But Grandma was the one who was trying to keep it all together, but her daughters were constantly rending it apart. And there was warfare among the daughters throughout their lives. It was constantly 4 against 1, 2 against 3, and they were constantly forming and reforming alliances. It was like Europe, in World War I and World War II, with all these changing loyalties and all. And their whole adulthoods were like that as well. Why that was, I cannot say, but it led to a very fractured family that has never recovered. So nobody remained close. People get scattered to the four winds, and and it's really the dissolution of everything that Grandma was trying to hold together and failing at.